I am so grateful for you to be joining in on today's podcast. I'm excited for each and every one of us that are working on becoming a Proverbs 31 woman because guess what? It's not always easy, but your time and effort and spending time with your father, getting to know him, and learning how to navigate this world, however easy or tricky it may be, means everything to your father. So let's get into today's episode. Welcome to Becoming P31 with Jazzy Nicole. Hey, loves. Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to Becoming P31 with your host, Jazzy Nicole. Oh, gosh. Listen, let me tap in with you first because you know I always got to see how my girls are doing. How are y'all doing? How y'all feeling? What went good? What went bad? Let me know how it was. Like, I want to know. I want to know the tea. I want to know the tea because you know what? My email address is in the description box, and I was getting a lot of emails for a minute, but I ain't got an email from y'all. I want to know how y'all doing. I want to know how y'all doing. I want to know what I can do to better assist you on your journey. I want to know, is there anything that I could be doing to help you? Like, I want to hear from you. Not even gonna lie. I want to hear from you. I hope you're doing amazing. And if you're new to Becoming P31, girl, welcome. What up? Tell your cousin them I said hi. You know what I mean? I hope that you guys have had an amazing week and you have an amazing week coming up. Let me tell you about mine. So I don't know why it feels like this week is going by so fast. And maybe it's because Christmas is in less than 10 days. We're right at 8 days and I feel like it's flying. And every time I think that I'm prepared for Christmas, I'm not. Like I just now realized today I need to figure out what we're doing for Christmas dinner. So y'all know like I talked to you guys about doing the sugar fast, and I told you about the book already, about the sugar fast book. And I got some dope stuff about that book already. I want to tell you about, but I'll get into it. But anywho, I'm already like I got everybody's presents done, presents wrapped. And then I remember today I have two more presents I forgot to wrap. I made my daughters these self-care gift baskets. So cute. I'm going to post them on TikTok so y'all can see them after Christmas because I'm excited. But I got them like, smell goods and bath stuff. And I got them some nice pajamas and some fuzzy socks and body wash and stuff like that. Like all kind of good smelling stuff. But then I also got them each a new Bible. So like I have a teenager, she's 14. I got her a teenager Bible. And my youngest, she is 10. And I got her like a younger kid's Bible, but she's not like kitty. Like she can grasp the understanding of things. So I got her a little more mature Bible. Not a teenage mature, but you know what I mean. Like I got her a Bible that fits her age group, and I wanted to include those in the gift basket, but they were still in the Amazon box, and so I forgot to include them. So my plan is to get some to wrap those, and I ran out of paper, so I need to go get some paper for that. But I think that'll be dope because honestly, this topic is perfect timing because today's topic is called resting in Jesus. And I think it's dope because like I said, these self-care baskets, I wanted them to have a level of relaxation. But let me tell you, there's no relaxation without Jesus, baby. Until you realize the real relaxation without your God, you don't know what relaxation is, baby. So learning how to rest in Jesus, and I want that to be their message for this Christmas, is relaxing is one thing, but resting in Jesus is a whole nother. So I wanted to get them these new Bibles, and I'm going to wrap them really nicely. So I'm excited about that. But then also Christmas dinner, I thought I was prepared, but now it's like the crunch time to prepare Christmas dinner. And speaking of that, when do you guys go shopping for Christmas dinner? When do you go shop? When it's a holiday, like when do you go to the store and buy all of your stuff? And I feel like every holiday, I'm like struggling to figure out when I need to go to the store. Like, should I go? Because you can't go to the store the day before because you ain't gonna have nothing. There's gonna be one carton of eggs and half of the eggs is gonna be cracked. There's gonna be 1/2 gallon of milk and it's gonna be the red top. Like, who really drinks the red top unless they're a toddler? Oh, no offense if you drink the red top. Just let you know that's kind of nasty, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Do you? Who am I to judge? So, but I'm like, okay, so you can't really grocery shop a week before because a week before your stuff is going to be spoiled in 3 days. So like when is the sweet spot? When do you go grocery shopping for your holiday dinners? I don't know, but I'm not doing like the traditional Christmas thing. I think I'm going to do some roast and some mashed potatoes. I'm gonna do 2 separate batches since I can't do sugar, but I can't do processed sugars. I'm doing natural, but I can't do processed. And probably some cabbage. I love cabbage. And unfortunately, I can't do like the maple bacon in my cabbage, but it's cool. It's still gonna be fire. I'm claiming it's gonna be delicious. So let's get into it. So you already know what I'm working on this week. That's what I'm working on. And likely most of us, it seems like everybody I've been talking to randomly, they're always like, "Are you ready for Christmas?" And I'm like, actually, yes. And they're like, "I'm not ready at all. I haven't done any shopping." You have 8 days. This reminds me of that TikTok sound. Do you know you have 30 minutes? 30, 30, 30, 30. That reminds me of that sound. Like, y'all got 30 minutes to get y'all stuff. And if you have not done your Christmas shopping yet and you plan on shopping for some people, let me just be the one in your ear right now to tell you, girl, hurry up. And why? Because when I look online, these items aren't going to be delivered until the 22nd or 27th. You're going to be giving people their Christmas presents after Christmas. What you doing, Snickerbutt? What you doing? And if you are on the everybody's getting a text message for Christmas train, like, be great. Just make sure your text message includes an emoji. If you could do that for us. 1 to 2, 3 to 5 emojis is like too much, but 1 to 2 emojis is like perfect. Perfect. Yeah, let's get into today's episode before I keep rambling on about shenanigans. So, welcome everybody. So today we're discussing the importance of resting in Jesus, and we're going to be using our Proverbs 31 woman as an example, because why would we not? Because we love her. We are working to be her, period. Okay. Why would we not? Boom. Okay, before I go too deep into this, let me tell you something real quick. So you guys know that I am doing the Matthew challenge for TikTok and on my YouTube channel, where we are reading 1 chapter of Matthew per day. Now, let me tell you what is so dope about this. And gosh, I feel like I have so much to tell you. It's almost like we haven't caught up in 7 days. Like, I just feel like I got so much to tell you. So the Matthew's challenge was something that actually came to me because I was doing this Bible study, which I still am, where we're learning the Bible in 52 weeks. And I was on for December 1st, actually literally on December 1st, the book of Matthew started in this 52 weeks challenge. Now, this challenge book doesn't have a start date. So randomly, and I don't believe in coincidences, you know what I'm saying? The book of Matthew started for me on December 1st, okay? Because of when I started this book. Unintentional. I don't believe in coincidences. And I was looking for, from God, something for me to do for his kingdom. And God clearly told me this Matthew challenge. And I wrestled with God quite a bit because Matthew is so jam-packed with Jesus speaking, and Jesus speaking to the multitudes, and Jesus speaking to the disciples, and godly instruction, but on a personal, intimate level with Jesus. Like, I almost feel like I am standing by Jesus when he's talking to the disciples when I'm reading the book of Matthew. Like, the account from Matthew, which, if you don't know who Matthew is he was a disciple of Jesus. He was a tax collector. So Matthew was actually a tax collector. And when Jesus came up to Matthew and said, "Follow me," Matthew dropped everything and left and followed him. And if you've ever watched the show Chosen, it gives you a really good accord of what Matthew could have been like. Like, they kind of describe Matthew as almost, I don't want to say, Matthew was really smart. He was really smart. He was a tax collector. He was good with numbers. And he was very analytical. And so when you look at a man who is good with numbers, analytical, and even him being faced with the decision to follow Jesus, that he doesn't give it a second thought. And if you know anyone who is analytical, they think through everything. I mean, scenario after scenario. I mean, they don't make a decision unless they thought through everything. So the fact that Matthew, being as analytical as he was, being a tax collector, he's good with numbers, he's good with probability, dropping his entire job to follow Jesus, and then writing the book that bears his name. That's I've been watching Pastor Philip Anthony from Church 2819. He keeps saying it. He is the man who he wrote the book that bears his name. He says that. What else is dope is that Church 2819 is also doing a Matthew review. And so while I'm reading it, I'm cross-referencing so much with the teachings of Philip Anthony, with the Bible. And like I said, I feel like I'm almost standing next to Jesus while he's talking to his disciples when I'm reading the book of Matthew. When I tell you this book is so intriguing, it's not even an understatement. I'm intrigued. I'm enthusiastic. I'm excited. I am so many things. Like when I'm reading it, it's just so much to grasp and so much to take note of in every paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. It's just so much to grasp. So I'm excited about that journey. But what's also dope is today is December 17th, and I read Matthew 17. But also in my sugar fast book, which is a daily devotional while you're on this 40-day fast, I am on, I want to say day 26 of my sugar fast. And she's literally talking about the book of Matthew. And she's talking about what I just talked about today, faith of a mustard seed. And she's referring to that verse. And she's referring to this story in the book of Matthew when we're looking at Matthew chapter 17, verse 14. In this story, you have this man who comes to Jesus. Jesus just came down from the mountain and he just met with Moses and Elijah, and three disciples, James, Peter, and John, just experienced this miraculous moment of worship and awe. And they're coming down from this mountain. The other disciples are there. I'm assuming the other disciples are there because it says when Jesus came down from the mountain. So it says when he comes down from the mountain, this man comes up to Jesus and he's like, listen, my son is having seizures. Can you please can you cure him? I went to your disciples and they couldn't figure it out. So God, Jesus, can you cure my son from this disease? And Jesus cures him. Okay. But then the disciples are like, listen, Jesus, after he cures him, they're like, Jesus, why couldn't we do it? And Jesus says to him, it's because of your faith. And if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. You could tell this mountain move and the mountain would move. But because you don't have that faith, you won't be able to do it. And he explains that with them, this is the only kind of miraculousness that can happen through fasting and prayer. So what's dope is that this is what was referenced in page 26 of my sugar fast. And it's almost like, okay, God, I get the message now because I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences. There's messages that God has for me, and I believe that he will show me in the best way that he can. And I feel like doing this fasting book and reading that literally today was in line with the chapter 17 that I read today for my Matthew reading, which I started Matthew on December 1st on a journey of reading the Bible in 52 weeks. And it just happened to happen on that day to start on December 1st. And not only that, I feel like I have a level of accountability through TikTok, but also through Church 2819. So I'm just like ecstatic. When God shows you these things and we don't believe in coincidences, you know it's something behind that. Like God is screaming at you if he's having all these things kind of line up. God, what are you trying to tell me? I love every bit of it and I'm excited. You hear me? So I had to tell you that because I didn't want to forget to tell you because I think it's pretty dope. So there's that. All right. So we are talking about resting in Jesus and the importance of it and how it relates to us as Proverbs 31 women and what does it really mean to even rest in Jesus? And if you took a moment for yourself to stop and think for a moment, what does it mean to rest in Jesus? What does that mean for you? I really want you to take a moment with some like Jeopardy music and think about it. What does that mean? When Jesus says rest in me, like, what does that mean? For me personally, y'all already know, I'm working on my hyper independence. I don't want to claim that I'm hyper independent, but I know I have hyper independent tendencies. Okay. And I'm working on it. God is working on it for me and with me. And in this, resting, like for me, honestly, resting is hard. The easiest way for me to rest is like if you pull me and take me out of town to a beautiful place with palm trees and a breeze and a beach. And I literally have nothing to do but sit on that beach after I take my cute pictures. Because honestly, I don't take bikini pictures, but I'm going to get some pictures with that good lighting. Okay. It ain't going to be in just no swimsuit. It's going to be in a cover up, but I'm going to get some good lighting. After I take my pictures, I can sit there and relax. That's resting to me. It takes me a long time to get there. The fact that I have to travel across states to find rest is crazy, right? But Jesus is calling us to rest in him. And we're going to see that from Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30, where it says, come to me, all who you are weary, burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. So Jesus is talking about not only rest for your body, but rest for your souls. you're battling so much, you can rest in him. So the definition of rest is really just to relax. Relax. He got it. He prop your feet up, girl. You good to go. When he tells you to move, move. But for now, rest. And there's some differences there between physical and spiritual rest, I think. So physical rest for me is like sleeping, right? And even in the fitness realm, they talk about the importance of sleep and how important it is for your progress. I think the importance of resting in Jesus is also important for your spiritual progress. Would you agree that resting in Jesus is just as important to your spiritual progress as resting your body for your physical improvement? Because if you think about it, so a lot of fitness influencers will say, or trainers, they will say your diet is important. You exercising has about 20% importance, but rest and recovery is so important to your physical. So important. How much more important do you think it is to rest spiritually in Jesus? He is our rest. And me personally, I think that has a lot to do with setting your burdens at his feet. That is rest for me. It's about not worrying. He says, come to me, all that you are weary and burdened. Being burdened is being overwhelmed. It is being tired. It is being in a moment, in a state where you're like, I've done A, I've done B, I've done C, D, F, and Z. You hear me? And I'm tired. And Jesus is saying, listen, I need you to lay your entire alphabet at my feet. I need you to give me your entire alphabet. Because you can try to figure it out on your own, but you're going to be running in circles, stink a butt. So let me tell you, you don't have to do that. But it requires you to think about this. Take my yoke upon you. Take my word upon you. Learn from me. Open up your Bible. Learn from me. I'm learning so much in Matthew. If you have not read the book of Matthew and you don't even know where to start in the Bible, start with the Gospels. Matthew is just when I don't even know how to explain how much revelation I'm getting from Matthew. And I said the same thing about Proverbs, but and Exodus. Wait a second. Yeah. And Genesis, goodness. Okay, well, the Bible's amazing, and there's that. But Jesus is saying that he is our rest, and he's saying, open your Bible, learn from him, know that he is gentle, but you got to humble yourself to say, I need help. God, I can't do this on my own. I need help. I've tried to figure it out, but God, I need help. That sounds like a rap song. I need help. That is a song. Have you heard that? I need help. I need help. I need the song. I need to find it. I'm gonna find it for you. I dropped my phone. Hold on. I'm gonna find the song for you. And honestly, I'm gonna find it because this song is fire. If you are someone who is a Christian and you love like rap music and you're trying to find some good rap music, like some Christian, this is it. This is it. It's I Need Help. I Need Help. Who is it? Oh, by Connor Price. It is by Maverick City. And I know a lot of people. Hold on. Hold on. Wait. So the third gon' hurt less. Got to the church steps, couldn't take the first step. I need some guidance, somebody controlling it. Got me a Bible, I took it right home with me. Put it right next to my bed, and I said that I'd read it. The truth is I ain't even open it. If I'm being honest, I don't even pray. That sounds so fire. I need somebody to tell me that nothing is wrong with me, saying that I need help. Everything around me is falling to pieces. That's my song, y'all. That song is fire. As soon as I get done recording, I'm about to play that. That song is so dope. But finding rest in him. So in humbling your heart to say, God, I need you. I can't do this on my own. I need you. And just dropping everything. There's a level of like relief that you get from dropping everything at Jesus' feet. Because you know you're going to be taken care of. You know you're going to be provided for. And let's look at some examples from the Proverbs 31 woman. How does the Proverbs 31 woman demonstrate resting in Jesus? You can find that in Proverbs 31, verse 25. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. Let's talk about what she has to do. So it's not talking about the fact that she's dressed. Of course, she's covered, right? We talked about being on the beach, bikini, taking pictures, but we talked about doing it respectfully, right? Covered up. In a cover up, a bikini cover up, like you ain't got your whole, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just talking about clothes. It's talking you have to be when you're clothed in strength and dignity, you got to be trusting God. You got to have a peaceful demeanor. You got to focus on the eternal things and not the internal things, because if you look at her, she's clothed in strength and dignity. She carries herself a certain way. She's dressed in a way that dignifies herself. She carries herself with strength. She exudes strength because she's laid everything at Jesus' feet. She can laugh at the days to come, meaning right now doesn't stress her out because she understands who really has her. She's trusting God. And when you're trusting God, that peace that surpasses all understanding, baby, when people look at you, they see it. That's why you don't look like your struggle. That's why you don't look like what you went through, because you are dressed in the peace of God because you've trusted him. That's a cute outfit. You hear me? I don't want no Balenciaga. I want to be dressed in strength and dignity, period. Now, let's talk about, and I'm kind of flying through this one. I don't know if it's going to be a long session or not, but letting go of control. Girl, looking at the word control, I don't know why for me it is just such a hard thing to do. And I'm not going to say I don't know why. I do know why. I know why. It's hard for me to let go of control. Why is it for you? Why is it hard for you to let go of control? And if so, why? I'm going to tell you why for me. I was very independent even growing up. I took care of a lot of things on my own, and not saying that my parents weren't available. Y'all know my dad lived out of town. My mama was a single mother, and I wanted to be less of a burden on her. So I made sure I took care of everything. I learned how to braid my own hair at 13. I started braiding my sister's hair too, so my mama didn't have to do our heads. I started doing people's hair on the side so I could have some money. So after school, I was braiding hair so I could have money. When I tell you my braids was fire, zigzags, designs, eight down, making my money. And honestly, I wasn't even charging a lot. Thinking back, I should have charged more. I think I charged people $20 for a hairstyle. I was tripping. But it was just a little extra money in my pocket. And I've always been that type to where I was super independent because I didn't want to be a burden to anybody. And even I find that in my adulthood, because even now, like between the relationship between me and my kids, we have a really good relationship, but I had to tell myself, you are not teaching them how to help. Wow. And that was kind of a slap in the face for me, because I was like, dang, Jazz, you're not teaching your kids how to help. Because like I would have a trunk full of groceries and they would be like, you need any help? I'm like, nope, I got it. Go ahead, girls. Or I would have a busy schedule. Like we are getting our carpets redone on the top floor of our home. And I was, helping them. They took care of their rooms, but I was packing up the rest of the rooms upstairs and carrying them downstairs while also doing my youngest daughter's laundry. And my plan was to fold her laundry after I got done. And I was like, Jazz, you are not allowing her to help you. You're not allowing her to have accountability. You're controlling it. So then I had to say, like, nope. Hey, Leah, you're going to have to take care of your clothes. I can't do it all. I need help. And that might be small to you, but to me, that's big, because in my mind, it was like being a good parent is taking burden off of my children, but it's not a burden. It's responsibilities and it's character development. And I'm learning the difference between those two. I'm actively working on it. But what does it mean for us to let go of control and just rest in Jesus? If we look at Psalm chapter 46, verse 10, it says, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know that I am God. To me, that's saying be patient, be hopeful, be waiting, and understand the power that your Father has, because he has a level of power that surpasses your own understanding. And it's telling me to recognize your limitations. You can only do so much, baby. You can only do so much. And although we want to feel like superheroes because we have a superwoman complex, we can only do so much. Recognize that and trust God's sovereignty and embrace the art of surrendering. So when we're doing that, we're looking at it like, I recognize that I'm not capable of doing this all. I've tried on my own. I've tried with the help of someone else, but I have not tried you, Jesus. Or I have not tried you consistently, Jesus. What does that look like? it's being honest with yourself. I think you have to be transparent with yourself and have a level of honesty with just you to say to yourself that you have limitations and it's okay. You can't do it all, Superwoman, right? Even Superwoman had to have an accomplice at some point. You can't do it all. Trusting God's sovereignty, knowing that He is your Savior, knowing that He is the one that takes care of you, and then embracing the art of surrendering it all to Him. And when you do that, let me say, it is a daily struggle for me because every single day I always task myself with these lists of things to navigate through. But I've started my day a little differently now. Like for now, these last couple of weeks of my fasting, I've started something differently that I'm hopeful to continue. And that is starting my day with saying, good morning, God, before I don't want to ask you, but good morning. Good morning. It feels good to hear good morning, right? Even when my kids tell me good morning, so I can only imagine how excited my father is to hear me say good morning. So anyway, I say, good morning, God. Show me how to lead my day. Show me how to take care of my day. God, I want to give you the burdens that I'm carried with today. I want to lay them at your feet and ask you to help me navigate through that. Develop me, strengthen me, prepare me for the day. Whatever else you want to say, but really just starting the day with saying hello to God and giving Him what you need to give Him and allowing Him to lead your steps. That's how I've been starting my day. And I think it's beautiful. And I think it's dope. But even like, I can honestly bet that a lot of us are kind of in the same area where you are super busy. And it's like, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this with the house. I got to do this with the kids. How do I rest? Where do I rest? And your mind is going 1,000 miles a minute and you're running. But how can you find rest in Jesus, even in the midst of your busyness? Oh, stop. Literally, the book of Matthew gave me some insight on this one too. And this was the time when the young lady touched the hem of Jesus's garment because she was bleeding for 12 years. You guys recall the story? So you have a woman, she's been bleeding for 12 years. Jesus is at the height of his career. He's doing everything. He's blessing everybody. He's moving around the cities and he's working through people. Someone touches the hem of his garment and Jesus stops, looks back and says, someone touched me. Who touched me? She raises her hand. She says, it's me. And Jesus said, you're healed because of your faith. Even though we're busy, we can always stop and get a moment for Jesus because He would stop and get a moment for us. And you can look at Luke chapter 10, verses 38 through 42, where it says, Mary sat at the Lord's feet listening to what He said, but Martha was distracted by all the preparations that she had been making. If you recall the story in Luke, so you have Mary and Martha, they're sisters. And so what happens is Jesus is walking around preaching and He needs a spot to host. You know what I'm saying? So Martha, she owns the house. Mary is the little sister or younger sister. And so they invite Jesus in. Now, anywhere Jesus goes, there's going to be a multitude of people following Him. So all these people are walking around following Jesus. They follow Him to Martha's house. They're sitting. Jesus is preaching. Mary, her younger sister, sits at Jesus' feet. But Martha is like, she's passing out drinks and making sure people are comfortable and finding seats. And she's being a good host, right? So Martha says to Jesus, don't you see Mary not helping me? And Jesus is like, I know you got a lot on your plate, Martha, but right now Mary is doing the right thing by sitting at my feet and getting this word. She's sitting at my feet soaking up what I'm saying, because you can feed people. You can pass around cups. You can make sure people are comfortable any time at all. But when Jesus is talking, it's time to sit down and listen. And so this reminds me of that, because we need to prioritize time with God. So even though you're busy and you're running around doing things like that, you have to find the time to spend time with God, but you got to prioritize it. You got to prioritize it. And then you have to learn how to say no, because you don't have to do everything. You're not required to do anything. So don't think you have to do everything. Like I told my daughter no about folding her clothes. Like, girl, you are 10. Fold these clothes up, put them on a hanger. You know, but I think a lot of times we put more, I'll say we, but really I'm pointing to myself. I think that I put more on my shoulders than I need to. I will do way too much. I am notoriously known for taking 85 tasks and putting them into 2 hours. Okay. Why? I don't know, but this is what I do. And honestly, like I had to leave myself a schedule. I had to be realistic with my schedule of what it looks like to spend time with God. And it might seem small to you, but waking up in the morning and having my conversation with God is important. And I'm working on reading my word consistently every morning. I at least been trying to read it before I ate. So like that's kind of my thing. Is like if I don't, I might read my word before I eat food. Like I've been trying to figure out a way to kind of make sure that I'm prioritizing him to start my day. And if you are someone who wakes up in the morning, you read your word, I think that is amazing. And I think it's beautiful. And I'm sure that a lot of us look up to you for your commitment to God and following him and being steadfast in your relationship with him and prioritizing him. What does that look like for prioritizing God to you? Like what does that look like for you in general? And if you are someone who is struggling with finding the time to prioritize God, what time of your day do you need him the most? I need him when I wake up. I need him first thing in the morning. I need him to fix my spirit. Learning how to say no is one of those harder things if you're a people pleaser. And I think that if you're people pleasing, which you can kind of call out a lot of people in the Bible who are people pleasers. If you recall the story of Matthew about King Herod, King Herod is the one who was responsible for the death of John the Baptist. So he had John the Baptist imprisoned, and he liked John the Baptist preaching, but he couldn't agree with John the Baptist because John the Baptist told either him or his brother that it was wrong for them to marry the sister or the wife. So King Herod had a brother, and King Herod, his brother, was married to a young lady, and that young lady was then married to King Herod. And John the Baptist told him, no, that's not okay. So King Herod, he imprisoned John the Baptist, but he respected him though, but he imprisoned him. Well, King Herod's daughter one time was like, I want John the Baptist's head on a platter. And because of the oath that he made to his daughter, he killed John the Baptist, put his head on a platter, and gave him to his daughter, which satisfied the mother. Crazy story, but that is in the book of Matthew. And when you think about this right here, King Herod couldn't say no because he was people pleasing. And there's so many people pleasers in the Bible, right? There's a lot of them. And you want to be honest, because Martha was a people pleaser too, because she was less focused on spending intimate time with Jesus, and she was more focused on making sure everybody in the house had their accommodations. She was people pleasing. And that is a sign of not saying no is a sign of people pleasing. And I had to learn that the hard way, because there's been friendships I had to let go, part-time job requirements that I had to let go because I was too busy trying to hold a commitment to someone else while I was slowly breaking myself. So for a long time, you guys, I was a supervisor at a call center, 14 years. And also while I was at the call center for like the last 2 or 3 years, I was a part-time indoor cycling coach. So my friend, she had a business, and I would go to her business and I would spin at her business, teach spin classes, right? So I would do this Thursdays and Tuesdays at 5 in the morning. So I would have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, be at the studio by 5. I would teach for an hour, but then there's like a 15-minute cleanup. So I would get home about 6:45, get the kids up at 7, and I would be clocked in for work at 8 o'clock and off at 5. And I would do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays and sometimes on Saturday mornings. And although it was fun, I found it wearing me down. I was tired. I actually, during that time, messed up my knee, and I couldn't teach because my knee was hurting. This is an indoor cycling class. I couldn't teach the class. And when I told her, I messed up my knee, it wasn't oh, I'm sorry, I hate to hear that, I hope you feel better. It was so you can't come in and teach the class? So you're not going to come teach it? And I was like, my mouth dropped. And I realized that I was doing it out of loyalty to her, but I wasn't taking care of myself in that time. I had a problem saying no. She would ask me to pick up another class sometimes, and I would always be the one to say yes. And I had to realize that even in friendships, sometimes your faithfulness to the friendship will cause you to be a people pleaser. And you'll notice sometimes it's harder to say no in those situations. So I would say probably last year I learned power in my no. I can't. My knee messed up, like I can't. The answer is no. I know I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to go. No, I don't want to take you there. And sometimes it's for me, for being a people pleaser, people know that you're a people pleaser and they will ask you to do things because they know that you're not going to say no. And one thing I heard before that kind of rings in my ears when I am asked to do something is people pleasers have to be mindful because givers will never tell you that they've had enough. They'll never tell you, oh, that's enough. You good. They will always keep asking for more. So you do have to be mindful of that. That's a tangent about people pleasing. So in resting in God, there may be a level of like fear and anxiety that you may face. And how can we really overcome that fear and anxiety when resting in Jesus? And I think that the best example of that is like, a career change. God is telling you to come change your career. God is telling you to do something different. What does that look like for you? That anxious feeling, that fear. How do you handle that when Jesus is telling you to stay, or Jesus is telling you to rest and you're like, but I got all these things I got to do? How do you overcome that fear and anxiety? Look at Philippians chapter 4, verse 6-7, where it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition and thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. Well, he told you what to do. He told you don't be anxious. Now, that's easier said than done. Don't be anxious. But how do you not be anxious? Because you could tell a kid stop crying, but you got to explain to them how to stop crying. Well, in every situation, prayer and petition with thanksgiving and present your request to God. So while anxiety might feel normal to you, when you are in those moments where you feel anxious and you feel overwhelmed, this is the time where you need to go to prayer and say, God, I need this from you, but I'm thankful for what you've given me so far. I'm thankful for it. But can you give me, I need prayer and petition. And when you go to God with what you have on your plate, you're presenting your problems to his feet. You're allowing his peace to overwhelm you, because his peace, recognizing God's promises and trusting them, but then also practicing gratitude. And gratitude is so beautiful because if you look at all what God has done for you, it's harder for you to complain about the season that you're in. Look at what he did. Similar to, again, back to the book of Matthew, where John the Baptist was in prison and he sent his disciples to Jesus to say, are you the Messiah? Are you the one that we're waiting for? Or should we be expecting somebody else? And Jesus said to John's disciples, he said, go back and tell him that people see, the blind are seeing, the mute are talking, the people who couldn't walk are walking, and blessed are those who are not afraid. Or no, he said, blessed are those who, what did he say? Oh, who are not offended by Jesus. That's what he says. Blessed are those who are not offended by Jesus. So what does that mean for us? When John the Baptist questioned Jesus, are you the Messiah? Jesus' response was, this is what's happening. Jesus showed his actions and said, these are my actions. Have a good day. Jesus like, okay, you question if it's me? Well, let me tell you what I've done. Have a good day. And I love that because for us, even in seasons where we are unsure, we're anxious, we're overwhelmed, look at Jesus's actions, trusting his promises and practicing the gratitude for what he's already done. In conclusion, you guys, resting in Jesus just requires us to trust and surrender and have a willingness to let go of control. You got to be willing to let go of control because it's not the easiest thing. It's not easy. You got to be willing for it to do it. Because resting as a single mother, we don't get rest, right? That's what we hear all the time. We don't get rest. But we have to find that pocket of time where we are resting our worries to his feet and allowing us time to sit with God, allowing us time to trust him, surrender what we're going through, and allow him to take control, allow him to take the wheel so that we don't have to. And this is how you rest in Jesus. So this week, what's your plan? What's your plan this week to rest in Jesus? Find one. Think about it. My plan is for the rest of the week, besides just having a conversation with God, I'm going to really work on getting in my word first thing in the morning before I even crawl out the bed. And if you're already doing that, hats off to you. Love that for you. Great work. Keep it up. And if you're not, maybe you could try that. Really getting up a little bit early and taking some intimate time with God first thing in the morning. Or if something else works for you, just think about it, pray about it, talk to God about it. Can I tell you guys something dope that I seen on TikTok? And this might help you in your prayer life. And I'm a journaler, so it really spoke to me. I love to journal. But in this video was this older man, and he said, if you want God to speak to you, there's something that you can do that actually helps. Okay, I'm all ears. He says, in your journal, you're going to write down your name like you're speaking. So I would put Jasmine. And then he said, ask God a question. So God, you can ask a question about anything, work, family, relationships. Talk to God. Write down how you feel. God, I have a question about my child and how I should train her up and what I should be doing after she just got baptized. Is there anything specific I should be doing? Once you're done writing, you're going to take a new line and you're going to write God, like God is responding to you. And then you're just going to allow yourself to write. And in your writing, he said, if you think that you're just writing things on paper and that it's not coming from God, then you can go back and say, Jasmine, like you're writing, and write out, God, I don't think that was me writing. Can you please speak to me again? And then make a new line and say, God, and allow God to speak to you, pen and paper. And I did this yesterday. And honestly, I wasn't even skeptical when I seen this video at all. But it was like beautiful. Now, me personally, I feel like when God talks to me, I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my chest. It's like this warm feeling of comfort and grace and compassion and just fire. It's just so many things that I feel when I feel like God's talking to me. I even feel it when I speak about God. Like I feel it right now speaking about God. The Holy Spirit in me just activates. You know what I mean? And I felt that when I did that journal entry prompt that I seen on TikTok. And I think it's pretty dope to share with you guys. So if you're looking for a way to connect with God differently, definitely try that. I hope that helps. But resting in Jesus is going to require you to trust, surrender, and be willing to let go of control. And if you need any help with that, you know who to seek. And I'll be leaving those Bible verses in the description box of today's video. Now, let's go ahead and pray it out. And I will see you next time. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we thank you so much for the opportunity to fellowship via podcast, God. It is amazing to have so many women of God speak about you and think about you and want to get closer to you and talk about you. Conversations about you make our day. And God, we thank you so much for this opportunity. God, we are actively working on resting in your presence because we know that you are the almighty comfort. And God, we thank you for that. God, we thank you so much for your word, God, as we are navigating those of us through this Matthew challenge or people doing their own Bible studies. I know a lot of people are focusing on Luke. God, we ask that you speak to them through your word in an astounding way. And God, we ask that we continue to align our ways with yours and that we continue to follow after your will and not ours. And God, we thank you for every opportunity that you presented in front of us and every closed door that you presented in front of us. God, we thank you. And we lift your holy name up in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, guys, I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining in. Bye.